Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovias inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. I wonder if at Copiers Plus, Drew just right out of the gate, everybody shows up to the office and he just goes, "It's time to have a meeting. It is time to have a meeting." You want to start the show with a meeting?
My favorite. Let's do it.
Yeah, I know you love meetings. So we've received a lot of feedback and questions about the College World Series. Apparently, y'all like the After Darks, which cool. Noted. We did all these After Darks going back to the ACC tournament throughout the Final Four run. We did them for the Carolina Hurricanes. And now in the College World Series, we have NC State and North Carolina going to Omaha. So we'd like to announce, I don't know about the After Darks, but Joe Giglio is going to Omaha. This is blowing out the budget, isn't it?
No, I feel like this is the tax budget, not for us.
Okay.
Right? Like things we learned last year. Like you got to claim everything, man.
That's a good point.
So that Final Four flight, that Final Four hotel. Yeah.
So when are you going?
Sunday.
All right.
So I'm going to miss the first game. It's kind of impossible. There's too many things going on. So Sunday, the Giglios are going to fly to Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Stay there Sunday night.
Okay.
Wake up Monday.
Real quick, when you roll through Kansas City,
yeah,
are you going to go by Arrowhead?
Hey,
be like, you really screwed up with Tyree. I want a sign, like say anything. You know, the guy with the boombox, but I want you with a sign saying, you will rue the day you moved on from Tyreek Hill. I need that to happen. Please.
That would be peak morning show radio. Yes.
Oh anyway, so you're going to get there Sunday,
KC.
Yeah.
So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I will be doing the show from TD Ameritrade Stadium, the press room anyway.
Yeah.
Hayes Permar is going to be with me all week next week. Our
Wait,
friend
is he
from
going
the Rialto.
To Omaha too?
No, he'll be back here holding down the fort probably from the Rialto and or his recording bunker that he has set up here.
Yeah, he's got
in Raleigh. He has a great space. So I got Hayes helping me out next week. But yeah, I just felt like I was moved to be there for Elliot because I figured that's what George would do. And I know that's what Elliot would do for me, for us. So schedule's a little bit wonky. You know, they play Kentucky in that first game. Hopefully they win. Hopefully I only see one game. That's my goal.
Okay.
I hope they win Saturday and I only see one game on Monday, which is the game in the winner's bracket. That is my goal.
Okay.
But yes, thank you to our friends at the News and Observer, Steve Wiseman. Credential.
A real one.
Somebody credentialed me.
What? We get credentialed to things?
I end arounded you people.
All right. So I hope Monday.
Sober Joe won't do what he wants to do right now.
All I know is on Monday, I will not be around for technical support.
I understand that. So that's why I'm hoping the credential, as I explained to Steve, I just need access somewhere where I know I can get an Ethernet cord and work.
Yeah, that should be a piece of cake.
And maybe if I can grab some people, I can grab some people. Cool.
Yeah.
But I think the aesthetic will be nice. And I'm looking forward to it. I've never been to Omaha.
It's on my list of things to do.
I still haven't been to a Super Bowl. Super Bowl on my bucket list. It's gotten super crazy expensive. Obviously, getting to Omaha is not easy. But kind of like the Final Four has found a way to get to a different city. And, you know, my wife is super excited that we're not that far from South Dakota.
Are you going to go see, what's in South Dakota? Is
Mount
Rushmore in South Dakota?
Right. But I think it would just be let's make a run.
Dude, speaking of peak radio,
let's just
do we
stand in front?
Shit, man. Can we do a show from Mount Rushmore and just do one giant Mount Rushmore show? Who's on your Mount Rushmore with Mount Rushmore in the background? Maybe I'll cancel my Florida trip. Holy shit, let's go.
I don't think I'll be close. Let's not get excited.
Damn it.
She's just excited that we've never been to Nebraska. Obviously, we'll knock that off. Nebraska, Iowa, and...
Can you recreate the Bruce Springsteen album cover?
Nebraska, Iowa, and South Dakota are within relative driving distance from where we will be.
Okay, well, you and driving makes me worried.
It should. Okay.
But
it'll be a good rental car. thanks to my friends at National. Some brands you can give up when you get out of that journalism racket.
Yeah.
Not National, man.
Oh, really?
Nah.
Oh, I just go for whatever.
They saved me. They saved me and Ethan Hyman one time. We got stranded in Charlotte, and the only people who would rent us a car, the one-way rental, was National. So I have no problem giving them a little free love right now.
I am very much the guy. What's the cheapest rate that I can get when I'm booking a flight? So it just so happened.
No, you need to join the Emerald Club.
Really?
Because when you get there, you don't check in, no nothing. You just get in the car. And then when you get to the gate, you give them your license, and that's it, man.
So my dad was always a Hertz guy. I think he still
he's old school. He's old school.
He's still a Hertz guy. Yeah. What I didn't realize was part of the reason why he was a Hertz guy is because when he was at IBM, there's all sorts of incentives and everything else. So when I became an adult and I'm like, I'm going to book my own trip, and I'm like, all right, well, my dad's always used Hertz. I'm going to use Hertz. And I looked at the price and I went, no. How's dollar looking? How's budget looking? Let's go. Okay.
See, that's the difference between Newspaper Joe and Radio Joe. Radio Joe never really had to do the grind of, like, you know how angry I would get at Tallahassee and Louisville that they did not have the drive and go for the Emerald Club.
Yeah.
Because when you go to cities and they have it and you're not able to do it, it's so annoying.
That is such first world print guy problems.
Yeah.
You know, you and your points. What's
Marriott?
The Marriott points,
everybody
right?
and their mother is on.
Look, man, I am, when it comes to a rental car, I am cheap. One of my all-time favorite rental car situations was a trip to San Francisco. And I did this was from Alamo, and Alamo had a dealer's choice option. It was the cheapest option. You don't know what you're going to get. I was like, you know what? What could go wrong? What are they going to give me? Like a little compact car? No big deal, right?
I worry about you sometimes.
They gave me an old Crown Victoria.
Crown Vic, baby.
A Crown Vic.
Did you try to pull somebody over?
Dude, that thing, I forgot how much that was. A land yacht.
Oh, yeah.
Such a land yacht. Because my dad's dad had a Grand Marquis, which was a Mercury version of the Crown Victoria, right? And I remember when I would go down to Florida, when I moved up here to go visit friends and hang out with my grandparents, see my cousins, stuff like that, I would get the Grand Marquis. Of course, my friends in Boca thought that was the funniest shit. Me just pulling up in the Grand Marquis, we cruise around and all that stuff. So that Crown Vic, it felt like home, Joe. Cruising around San Francisco. Again, try parking a Crown Vic on those hills. That was a lot of fun. So that's our meeting. Whatever you do, don't lose the equipment.
Yeah, that was big time of you yesterday. Big cats in the cradle energy, Joey. Big cats in the cradle.
What are you talking about? So, what are we doing here? You're doing
all right. So here's the map. Now, it's certainly we're not going to hit Mount Rushmore. It's on the other side of South Dakota. But if you look down in this area here, South Dakota actually like dips down. So it is doable to not so you can knock it off your list of states.
Yeah,
like I have a chance to knock 3 states off my list. I'm going to be like I'm already in the single digits as it is. I'm about to get to like 4 or 5 left. Obviously, Alaska and Hawaii being 2 of the notable exceptions now.
See, for me, a 7.5 hour drive is not daunting to me.
Right. I understand that.
For me, it's not daunting.
Right.
So I would look at that, and given if there was a break in the schedule, like, you've got nothing going on that day.
That's you. That ain't me. You had no back surgeries. You and me.
We ain't the same. Exactly. I don't mind driving. I mean, I'm the same guy that's going to try to hit 3 national parks when I go down to Florida, and then do the Keys to Orlando drive, which is about 8 hours. That ain't nothing to me.
Plus, at the risk of you telling me I'm selectively enforcing old histories and retro explaining things.
Yeah.
Like the site where the Mount Rushmore is problematic.
It's entirely problematic.
Okay.
Yes. But I also know that's where Team America World Police is headquartered.
Oh, okay.
So I would want to pay homage to America.
Okay.
F yeah. I'm just saying. I mean, that's what I would.
You know me. I like to take selective moral stands.
Well, I mean, I just love the fact that there's like a super secret. I've been to Mount Rushmore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I know as a kid, I was fascinated by the fact that there's this incomplete museum or like viewing area in the back of one of the president's heads. I forgot which one it was, but
they were supposed to be full bodies.
They were supposed to be full bodies,
chest up, tits up, whatever it was.
Right. They were supposed to be full bodies. There's supposed to be some sort of viewing platform or some additional thing in the back of a head that's incomplete, but it's still there. That's on the level of, there's a basketball hoop at the top of the Matterhorn in Disneyland.
I don't even know what the Matterhorn is.
It's a roller coaster.
Okay.
Anyway, you want to start the show?
Well, that was a good meeting.
No, that was a very good meeting.
Meeting is adjourned. I don't want to go straight to housekeeping because I feel like we just did a little bit of housekeeping, but you know what? Let's start some show, shall we?
Forget how good the Collins Avenue is.
Collins Avenue hits. And sometimes I forget. Sometimes I get so wrapped up in media cold wars that I'm kind of sad that I'm not in one right now.
Okay.
We'll get to that in lightning round a little bit later on.
The fastest moving segment in all of the internet.
It is, all these other
named.
All these other imitators that try to like get through a bunch of different stories in a quick amount of time. Maybe
no one has ever thought to do that.
Maybe you number them 5 through 1.
That's never been done
It's
before.
never been done before. Maybe you call it what's trending to kind of give it a hip name, to tie it into social media, catch you up on things. Nobody's ever done that before. And I love that we're trailblazing here on this podcast. It's funny. There's football this week, believe it or not.
Do
mini camps, baby.
Do it though. Do it.
We'll do what?
We got a lot to get into.
We do have a lot to get into today. We got mini camps, baby. Mini camps, mandatory mini camps.
We got jack shit to get into.
Come on,
we have the greatest corporate quote ever to get into today. I do know that.
We do. We'll get into that in lightning round. So this is Dave Canales, Panthers head coach. You know there's plenty to get into because now we can talk about Bryce Young and where he is with the Dave Canales development. Canales met with the media yesterday. Here's what he had to say about Bryce Young.
Man.
He really is a handsome man.
I would say just the comfort and familiarity with our terms, with the plays. Today was by far his best day, just operating the offense. The execution.
Joe!
Yes.
His best day! Best day as a Panther under Dave Canales.
I mean, it's too early in his career to get. He's in the best shape of his life.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
That's awesome. Love it.
Of the plays, defense makes plays too. But as far as like the getting out of the huddle, getting to the line of scrimmage, moving the shifts and motions, using the cadence, figuring problems out with the protections, this was a fantastic day for Bryce in understanding what we're trying to get done.
Are they in pads?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, they're not in pads. They're not in pads. I actually I saw some of the clips. They're not in pads.
Okay, sir.
And never mind. He threw an interception to close it out. That was just a really good sign for what they're doing on defense. Okay. In fact, if I can go back, let me see if I can
coach them up.
Let me see if I can find this clip real quick from Dave Canales talking about the defense and going at it and all that kind of fun stuff. It was super fun. And
but are they ready to hit somebody else yet?
No, that's not yet. That's not yet. That's not happening yet. Oh, well, it looks like Elon's platform is failing me at this moment in time. They want to be a video first platform, but the video doesn't seem to be working right now. So,
well, I feel better. I saw that DraftKings has a bunch of Panthers props too.
They do.
They're getting us ready.
They are
getting us primed and ready.
Now, speaking of being in the best shape of your life, Brooke Pryor, she is just blessed. Our friend at ESPN who covers the Steelers.
He is old enough to give us it.
So this was yesterday. Brooke posted this video, and I simply retweeted it with, Brooke is
eye black
breast. Like Brooke is gonna be so blessed with Russell Wilson content this year. And I texted her like, I hope you know that you have a permanent rotation on the podcast this football season. She's like, for you guys, anything. Russ, feel like the fountain of youth.
I feel the fountain of youth, man. I feel revived in every way, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I feel confident. I think that at some point you got to know who you are, as a player, as a man, as a competitor, as somebody who's been fortunate to play in this game. And I don't doubt it. I just trust it. I felt really good last year playing. I felt really confident in the midst of everything. And so I think right now I have all that confidence times 10. So you just use it all, just use it all. You just trust it. And, you take one day at a time, and you just put in the work. And I just think that's the part that I love. There's nothing like doing the work. There's no substitute. There's no substitute for the hard work. And that's the part that I love.
Throughout the beginning stage.
I can't wait. During the season, we should do Russell Wilson Wednesdays, self-belief Russell Wilson Wednesdays, where we do the show in eye black. Appropriate of nothing. Just smudge the eye black on. I can't wait. You're right.
My man.
My only wish right now
is
I did not spearhead the campaign to get rid of Matt Canada. That is my only wish right now. We could have had those two glorious Wolfpack forces combined.
Goodness gracious. Russell.
Best shape, Joe. Spiritually, mentally.
Yeah, that's always a sign. You were never ever going to hear me say those words, ever. All you're ever going to hear me say is, "Hey, man, I'm just glad these pants still fit." Okay, like I was going through my treasure trove of Disney shirts.
Oh boy.
And let me tell you.
Speaking of scripts, look at you getting ready for Disney.
I am scripted for Disney. Okay. I don't do the Etsy thing where it's like my favorite Disney villain is my wife. Like those are the types of things no, that's a real thing. You know how I joke football season brings out the people who want to tell you like I hate my family.
Yeah.
Because sorry, family. we talked about this last week. The
we
guy
got
who
the Chiefs in line.
I forgot Warren Sharp, a football guy. He's like, tell your family you love them because you're not going to see them between December 21st and January 10th. It's like, okay, buddy. But yeah, you see the same thing at Disney too, where like there are people who just, I'm just here to pay for stuff. Like, wow, man, way to really have that magic flow through you. But yeah, that's where I'm kind of at right now. I'm never going to ever tell you I'm in the best shape of my life. It's just going to be, I hope I fit in this shirt. That's all I ask. And there's a lot of shirts, unfortunately, that I do not fit in anymore. Whew, it is a fight. And then lastly, as we get to mini camps, look, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
But I just want to remind people.
Did our guy do something?
That I remain correct about Aaron Rodgers.
Did our guy do something?
Yeah, apparently he did not show up to mandatory minicamp.
Mandatory.
And Robert Saleh, the head coach of the Jets, said it was an unexcused absence. I think Hassan Reddick also wasn't there either, but whatever. It was an unexcused absence, but he wasn't there because he was at some sort of event that was really important to him.
Oh, okay.
I'd love to know.
Did he say that?
That's what he said. And he said it in a way that was not perceived to be sincere. So we've now led to Aaron Rodgers' quotes from this offseason talking about, hey, man,
no more BS.
No more bullshit. Because
all the leaks.
All this stuff. Once it's time for football, it's about winning, man. No time for bullshit. All right.
Fully committed.
We got mandatory minicamps. You're the leader of this organization. You're the one that everybody feels, they're Super Bowl contenders because of you. That's where they brought you here.
Certain way about, yeah.
And of course, he's not going to be there for that. But I'll just say I'm right about Aaron Rodgers and will continue to be right about Aaron Rodgers forever. Big thanks to DraftKings. Check them out. Use the promo code OG24 when you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. If you are a new user and you use that promo code, you bet $5, you will get $150 in bonus bets. You can put those bonus bets to not put any money on Jon Rahm, who will not be at the U.S. Open, Joe, which is getting ready to start tomorrow. Based on the story from the Washington Post, where did it go? Here it is. He withdrew from the tournament, citing a foot injury. Quote, to say I'm disappointed is a massive understatement. That's what he put on social media. Although you and Chip were mentioning the fact that Rahm, we kind of understood he was nursing something. going into this?
Yeah, he had a withdrawal from the live event in Houston last week. I'm also still confused as to why he performed so poorly at the Masters, where he won the tournament the previous year, and then Valhalla, another course that was custom made for him and his game, and he didn't even make the cut. So something is amiss with him. And actually, we'll be making some picks on the OG Gambling Syndicate today with Josh Goodson and Ben Johnson, and Josh correctly pointed out before Valhalla that Rahm feels it so deep. He feels everything so deep about like the future of golf. And you remember he was so passionate initially when, the PGA Tour, he was a big defender of it. And then ultimately after, the double cross there by the PGA Tour and Jay Monahan, he was like, fine, I'll just take the money from Liv. And he has been actually on the Liv side being like, hey, we should probably try to play 4 days. We should really play more and do this and do that and get rid of the shotgun starts and actually like play like proper golf. So he feels it's super deep, and obviously the injury doesn't help him. But it's a shame because Pinehurst is a course where 2 years ago, if they played a U.S. Open at Pinehurst, Jon Rahm would have been the favorite. His short game, his imagination are such that he's a perfect fit for this track.
Yeah, it's interesting. You bring up Liv and Tiger Woods, who is Luke DeCock wrote about this. We're going to talk to Luke DeCock about hockey in a little bit, as it looks like the Carolina Hurricanes are putting their front office together, as we kind of thought it would play out, with Eric Tulsky being having the interim tag lifted from him. But Luke wrote about this in the News and Observer in regards to, we haven't really experienced, Tiger Woods at the U.S. Open, right? 05 and
99 he was trailing. He was in it.
He was in it, didn't win. 05 he was dealing with an injury, if I remember correctly, in 05.
Was not a big factor.
Not a big factor. 14 he was not there.
Yep.
And then now we see twilight of his career, the sunsetting of Tiger Woods, and we don't really consider him to be a factor here. So it's interesting that Pinehurst, with everybody loves the event there. We've got an iconic moment from 99, obviously at the U.S. Open. But Tiger's not not part of any of that lore, and I don't expect him to be part of that lore. But Tiger Woods is kind of positioned himself as somebody who talks about the state of golf. He's kind of transitioned into that elder statesman. And during the press availability at the U.S. Open, he said that the PGA Tour and the Saudi investors all, quote, all want the same thing, and called a recent in-person meeting with the potential Saudi investors as productive. And I think, to your point about Liv and the number of the number of rounds and everything else, something has to coalesce. Something has to come together to just kind of bring a unified nature of what we're getting with golf. Otherwise, these big names that people are accustomed to, when they get to these events, they actually produce, as opposed to what we've been seeing from Liv golfers.
Yeah, and I think a big part of Scotty Scheffler's success. Now, please don't get me wrong; he's the best player in the world.
He is.
But part of his success is these other golfers are not in these events on a consistent basis. Part of it. Okay. So, and part of that is a Cam Smith, a Jon Rahm going off and not, losing their edge, essentially what it comes down to. And I hate that. Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka. Brooks was always an exception because he never really liked playing in the other events anyway. And we've seen Bryson, Bryson is a polymath. He is a guy who goes about his business every single day trying to figure out the best possible formula to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have faith in Bryson being competitive because that's the way that he is wired. And I think Brooks is always going to show up for the big events no matter what. Again, that's the way that he's wired. But I do worry about a Cam Smith, a Joaquin Neiman, a Jon Rahm. These are guys who should be in the top 10 on the PGA Tour right now, and trading wins with Scotty Scheffler. Instead, they're at the back of the bus. And Cam Smith is a guy who I'm going to look at this weekend. And obviously, everyone already knows I already have a ticket on Cam Smith. But I'm going to look at what he does this weekend, and this feels like one of those moments for him where, like, you have the best short game in the world, and if you can't win on a course that is set up to accentuate your primary asset, then you got to reevaluate what you're doing. And maybe you don't care because you have so much money, but at some point you did love golf, and at some point you did love competition.
Yeah.
Remember, he's the one who won the British Open and then jumped to Live the next year. So That's going to be fascinating to me to see how this all plays out at Pinehurst. It's going to be tough as hell. Tough as hell. So I know you're right about Tiger and where he is in this point in his career.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say to you, the comp to me is Kiowa in 21. That was won by Phil at 50 at that point in your career where you're sitting there going, how did Phil Mickelson win the PGA at 50?
The typical thing for a lot of these golfers, the famous golfers, the ones we all know, the household names, they all have that one last old guy major win that just comes out of nowhere and everything comes together for them. I've always thought that about Tiger Woods, but that was before
the accident. I would say this
that
for
was
Tiger
before
this week. If there's ever another time for him to be competitive in a major, it's this type of setup where the winning score is going to be very, very low. Like he can't go to Valhalla anymore and put up a 24. He can't do that anymore. But can you get him to win at -2 or -3? Mm-hmm. I think that is in his wheelhouse. Obviously, you and I have both played Pinehurst. It's not a difficult walking course.
It's not.
You're going to get all kinds of rollout. You don't necessarily have to have the distance. He famously won a major without using his driver before. If he can hold up, this is the type of setup that is a perfect storm for him. And I'll say this on this show before I say it on the gambling show today. Pinehurst in 99 delivered us a why do you love golf moment with Payne Stewart and Phil Mickelson in 99. That was an all-time tournament, all-time. The two that have been played since then are not all-timers. And quite frankly, they have been ho-hum meh.
I was going to say, Keimer ran away with it.
Yeah, with 265s.
Yeah.
So I think they're due a good tournament.
Okay.
I'm just going to say that.
Okay.
And I don't think that means Scotty Scheffler winning at 10 under and everyone else at 2 under. You know what I mean?
I will say this, though. I want to, what's the term? Fade?
Yeah.
I want to fade Xander Schauffele.
The X-Man?
Yeah, I want to fade because this came from Golf on CBS. This was, I guess, during warm-ups, during practices. Apparently, Xander Schauffele was beat straight up by Michael Jordan.
You played with MJ yet?
I have. Yeah.
It's fun.
It is fun.
It's really hard to talk him.
I did my best. And then he beat me straight up, which was embarrassing.
What?
In the last 3 holes, yeah. I pancaked him and he on his stroke holes, and I started talking to him.
Yeah.
He got all quiet, focused, and then birdied like 15, 16, no strokes, beat me straight up. And I was like, all right.
Weird he came through when he needed to.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's Nost from CBS with, weird that the guy who has an entire documentary where he goes, that's when I took it personal. Managed to find a way.
I'm assuming this was over at what was the old Pinehurst National, which is Michael's home course. I'm going to assume
that
that's what happened here.
That might be the case.
You could be I mean, as someone who is 10 strokes better on his home course, you could
that's fair.
Somebody
that's
on
fair.
Their
that's fair.
I don't know if I'm beating the X-Man.
So DraftKings, check them out. Download the app. Bet $5 with the OG208 promo code. You'll get $150 in bonus bets. They're an official betting partner of the NBA as well. Something new with our DraftKings. I put this in the StreamYard just so you know.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Or in West Virginia, visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age varies by jurisdiction. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Deposit and eligibility restrictions apply. See terms and responsible gaming resources at dkng.co/MMA.
There you go.
Love it.
That's in there.
Did you put that together?
Well, no, they gave me the audio. I just went ahead and put the little
the screen.
Together.
I like that.
I had to put the screen there.
Nice touch.
Housekeeping is brought to you by Inovana. They came to the house yesterday.
They did.
They'll be back in 2 weeks. Just so you all know, they're not there every day.
If you have messes at your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Inovana.
Go ahead, go to the website, Inovana.com, Green Cleaning Solutions. Podcast Festival is August 24th at the Rialto with our friend Hayes Permar. gracious enough to allow us to invade the theater. We're going to have a good time. Shutdown Fullcast is going to be there. Hand in the Dirt will be there. We will be there. Tickets are on sale right now at eTix. You can also go to the Rialto website, where you can also find all sorts of other events that are going to be taking place at the Rialto. Go support local, y'all. So head on over to the Rialto website. Get that. It's all brought to you by Breeze Through. We thank them for being the presenting sponsor of the podcast festival. Check them out online. Get the app. That way you can save money on gas. That's kind of crucial. That's really necessary this summer as you're doing a lot of traveling. Go to breezethrough.com. They also got a food truck you can be on the lookout for. They helped us out for the OG birthday bash.
Really good food.
Really, really good food. So be on the lookout for that. So again, go check out the podcast festival. Tickets are going at a brisk pace.
Get them now.
At a brisk pace.
Hurry up. 14 left.
Tomorrow, we are going to be at Longleaf Swan in downtown Raleigh, starting at 1 o'clock.
1
for our Sleek Fleet OG Live. LongleafSwine.com. If you want to go ahead, order online. You're being lazy, you want to cater some stuff, by all means, they've got it there. Better yet, they got a great spot in downtown Raleigh, nice outdoor space, incredible bourbon selection. It's all at LongleafSwine.com, and we will be there at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Big thanks to Hometown Realty for being one of our corporate champions. MyHTR.com. You can buy and sell with confidence at Hometown Realty. A lot of new construction going up, and Hometown Realty understands the incentives, the inside track, and that's why you can buy with confidence. And let's say you did buy a house. Let's say you sold a house.
Let's just say
that Joe is taking a 7.5-hour trip to go see Mount Rushmore, and he gets a speeding ticket in an area where there is no speed limit.
The betting odds on that would be off.
You got to remember, there's no speed limit.
I know,
but you'd still somehow. Well, WH.lawyer will help him out. Whitaker and Hamer, attorneys and counselors at law.
It's absolutely in play.
Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, Luke DeCock, columnist, News and Observer. He's not in Pinehurst yet, but I know he's going to be headed out there soon. All right, Luke, before we talk about golf, there's still matters of the Carolina Hurricanes. Based on some reports, it looks like the obvious thing is going to happen. Eric Tulsky is going to have the interim tag removed. He's going to be the general manager of the Carolina Hurricanes. I feel like we've been talking about this for weeks, months on end, that if Don Waddell ever leaves, it makes sense that he would be elevated to general manager. Shouldn't be surprised, right?
No, and I mean, maybe a little bit, because I think there was legitimate consideration given to whether or not Justin Williams wanted that job. And he's had a lot of input in the last couple of years on hockey decisions. He's been a pretty important part of the front office, very close to Tom Dundon. In Justin Williams' case, he's got a pretty sweet gig now. He gets a lot of input without having to, do the dreary part of the job and can go play golf. It's funny, bringing it back to golf at the U.S. Open qualifier at Duke, whatever that was last week. I was talking with Chesson Hadley, who's a huge Hurricanes fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, what about the GM job? Would you want the GM job? And he kind of gave his endorsement to Justin Williams and said, I think I'm going to stick to golf. And I said, what? I think Justin Williams might feel like he wants to stick to golf too, because he's got a pretty good gig right now. No, so I think there was consideration given to that. Justin Williams is a hockey guy. He's got a really good handle on the game. And again, he's close to Dundon. But Tulsky makes a lot of sense. He's made a lot of the decisions, or at least guided a lot of the decisions that have been made since Tom Dundon took over. Obviously, he's one of the very few people in that front office, along with Darren York, who've thrived under both Ron Francis and Don Waddell. He's been able to cross over the two regimes because what he does is valuable. And I think they've given him the resources. Ron Francis gave him a lot of resources at a time when teams were not investing as heavily into analytics as they did a year or two later. I don't give Ron Francis a lot of credit for what he did here, but he definitely was ahead of the curve on that.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought in Tulsky and set him up, and he's continued to expand his staff. And, they do a lot of proprietary stuff that we'll never know about. And that's how you win in the NHL these days. It's one of the ways you win. So he makes a lot of sense. Why are you laughing already?
Are you telling me that Eric Tulsky is not worried about Cap Friendly getting shut down thanks to the Washington Capitals? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I actually think people are worried about that because it was a single source of information that everyone could agree on.
Yes.
That's important when you're making deal. Like That's why we have a standard and poor 500. People need benchmarks.
Mhm.
Cap friendly was invaluable. The NHL's decision to let the Capital, I mean, basically to encourage the Capitals to buy cap friendly and shut it down is a aberration. I mean, it's like, it would be like if Major League Baseball said, after Moneyball came out, we're going to take the walk out of the game because we don't want people working the system like this. No, you can't know the numbers. The funny thing is, and this goes way back to the old days, almost pre-internet. When I started covering the NHL back in 98, 99, if you wanted to know a guy's salary, all you had to do was call the PA. The union would tell you everything you needed to know. So you could, like when I took over the Hurricanes, I called the guy at the union and said, I need all the salaries and agents, and he faxed it to me.
Yeah.
That's how we did things back then. So the information's always been out there. It wasn't as available to fans. I think having that information available to fans is so important in a cap league. And the idea that you're going to make it a proprietary secret is just such 1986 thinking. But as Mario famously said, it's a garage league. But no, back to the point on Tulsky. He is obvious. He's had a hand in the shaping and creation. He's been an important voice in this franchise. He's a really smart guy who gets the game. It makes a lot of sense. Here's my concern with that. And this is not insurmountable. Somebody has to make those trade calls. Don Waddell was really good at that because he knew everybody. People knew him. They trusted him. He had a huge Rolodex. He knew agents. He knew GMs. Does that mean Eric Tulsky can't do that? Absolutely not. But there will be a learning curve there. And he's been in on these calls, so he knows what he's getting into for sure. But it is different when you go from someone as connected as Don Waddell to someone who, quite frankly, some GMs are going to see as an outsider. That's the way they've treated Dundon, as someone who's coming in to disrupt the system. So that's going to be interesting.
That's how Dundon wants to be viewed. He's not shying away from being an outsider to want to do things his way.
I didn't say that he didn't. And I don't think necessarily that Tulsky wants to be viewed as some, insider who's spent weeks in driving around northern Manitoba looking at 16-year-olds like the hockey gatekeeping world wants to insist you have to have done.
Right.
My point is there are owners and GMs who don't want to do deals with the Hurricanes because they don't want to do a deal with Dundon. And that may be a little of that with Tulsky. It's stupid and it's grade schoolish, but it's the NHL. Nothing says stupid and grade schoolish like the NHL. There's a ton of gatekeeping like that goes on. So there's that issue. The other issue, I think, is when you look at the building of this Hurricanes roster, they made their most progress, and maybe it's because it was low-hanging fruit. When they had other voices in that room, sort of quote-unquote traditional hockey voices, like I've just disparaged, when you had Rick Dudley and Paul Krapelka in there, those were two guys who, Rick Dudley is like the scout. Paul Krapelka had been an agent, been Bates Battaglia's agent, Stahl brothers' agent, Rick DiPietro's agent, Roberto Luongo's agent. These were people who were more old school hockey guys. They went to Florida, and if you look at the roster that Florida has, it's better than the Hurricanes. So now not all of that is because they went there, but it's interesting to see how the Hurricanes were ahead of the Panthers, and now the Panthers are ahead of the Hurricanes, undeniably. And so I think it's important that they find somebody, and maybe it's Justin Williams, who's more rooted in that sort of traditional hockey analysis of, whatever the scout eye, the guys around the table of Moneyball, because I think you need both.
That's what I was going to ask in relation to
Justin. In today's NHL, I'm not an anti-analytics guy by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah. I think what Tulsky's done has been really good for the Hurricanes, and I think with time, his team can generate more sort of advantages and things like that. But I also think hockey is still a very
it's a people business. It's a people business.
Well, it's a backwards game and it's a human business.
Yes.
And you need people who understand that, who these guys are, how they'll fit.
Yes.
Who collapses under pressure. There is still a subjective level of observation that's important. And I think when you look at the last 3 years with the Hurricanes, it's been really important at times that they've been missing that a little bit. So I think it would be good to have a voice in that room that kind of does that. And maybe that's Justin Williams, maybe it's someone else. But, in terms of making decisions and guiding the direction of this franchise and sort of being the person who collates all the information and brings it to Dundon to discuss, Eric Tulsky can do that just fine. And there's a reason he's been a candidate for other GM jobs and interviewed in Chicago and Pittsburgh. It's because people respect his hockey mind, not just his numbers and spreadsheets. They respect his hockey mind. and he'll get a chance to do that here.
Yeah, it's never been in dispute about the hockey mind. I just wonder sometimes with Dundon is about that touch. And that's always been my question. As long as he's been the owner, I understand every analytical aspect of how he wants to run things. It makes a lot of sense, and I'm not against it. It's always a matter of that touch. You have to have a touch on things, which gets us to the president aspect of this. Don was doing 2 jobs. It looks like Tulsky's going to do one of those jobs. I mean, is Justin Williams president material, or are they going in another direction for something like that to handle the business side of things?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because a lot of what the president does, especially if you put the right staff in place around him or her, is business development. But no, I think because you're heading into an era where you're going to be negotiating and dealing a lot with the Centennial Authority, all these arena renovations, the development, I think you're going to need a president who has a pretty sound footing, not just in the business world, but in the market. Someone who understands sort of the Byzantine hallways of power in Wake County and Raleigh and who's really in command. You can go ask Bubba Cunningham about that, how the state really works. I
know one guy.
What's that?
I know one guy who could do it.
Who's that?
Philip Isley.
Yeah, that's possible. It's possible.
I mean,
I think it actually serves
Centennial Authority and understanding all the things that are going on. I mean, the guy's been
serves the Hurricanes' purposes better to have him on the Centennial Authority than it does in their own office. But someone like that, when you look back to Jim Kane, another well-connected Raleigh lawyer, Republican fundraiser, lobbyist, when Don Waddell came in, his express mandate was to grow revenue. None of that other stuff mattered. But he also did negotiate the arena lease under Karmanos that kind of saved the franchise. He doesn't get as much credit for that. Isley mentioned it when Waddell left. Those negotiations, when Karmanos still owned the team, were very, very tricky. And Waddell handled that well. And then, like Jim Rutherford before him, ended up doing 2 jobs as president and GM. It's 2 jobs. You need someone who's focused on the business side. Waddell was able to do both because so much of the hockey stuff happened sort of by committee in this group with Tulsky and York and Dundon and Williams and whoever else was in that room, and he was able to build, empower people like Mike Foreman on the business side. So you could kind of get both of those going simultaneously. With new people in those roles, they're going to need to be focused on those roles. It'll be really interesting to see what direction Dundon goes, because that is a front-facing position. It is a revenue position, and it's going to be a negotiating position as these, arena renovations and the development proceeds. You're going to need someone who is able to have fingers in a lot of pies.
I feel like we can table the conversation about the roster because right now we're just in peak rumor mode. We also know the Carolina Hurricanes tend to wait until the very end for all these things. So I could sit here and ask, why haven't they signed Seth Jarvis? That seems like a fairly obvious thing to do, but that's just not how they operate with the Carolina Hurricanes. So let's transition to golf before we say goodbye. With the U.S. Open starting tomorrow. I know you wrote about this in News and Observer. I referenced it with Giglio just before you came on, and it was in relation to Tiger Woods. And, we haven't had, Pinehurst has had its magical moment, in 1999, but it hasn't really had the Tiger moment. 10 years ago, he wasn't even there. So it's interesting to see that this guy is probably going to bring a pretty big gallery around him for somebody that I don't think anybody expects to contend this weekend at the U.S. Open.
No, but he's Tiger, and I think the thing people forget because he hasn't won is these were some of the I don't know about toughest, but some of the most glaring near misses of his career. The failure to chase down Mickelson and Stewart in '99, and then really letting Michael Campbell beat him on the back nine on Sunday in 04 or 05. It's a really interesting dynamic. I don't know that there's a place where success has slipped through his fingers without eventually winning the way it has at Pinehurst. And when you look at the course of his career and the sort of scope of it, it really does stand out that way. I mean, this was in the column. If he finishes in the top 20 this week, he'll only be the 3rd golfer in the last century to finish in the top 20 at the same open site 3 times.
Yeah.
And that's incredible.
Yeah.
When you think of this is a place of tremendous disappointment for him and a place of tremendous frustration. So I think there's a chance. We've seen it. Here's I'm going to pitch. I'm going to make the pitch here. Can Tiger contend? Here's the scenario in which he can contend.
Yeah.
Pinehurst is flat. The hills killed him at Southern Hills in Augusta. It's going to be hot. Everything's going to be loosey-goosey, and his back and knees are going to feel okay. And He's used to the heat and humidity. He lives in Jupiter or wherever now. He's fine.
Can he putt? That's the question.
This is going to be a mental test as much as a physical test. Scotty Scheffler, this actually sets up really well for him because he just doesn't make mistakes.
Sure.
He plays boring, patient golf. Tiger can do that. And Tiger is older. There's some war weariness there. I feel like he has a chance if he can show what he did on the first day at Augusta and play with that level of precision. He has a chance to be in the mix. Does anyone realistically expect him to contend? No, I think he's actually even money to miss the cut. But I do think there are aspects of this and this tournament and maybe a little motivation that line up for him where we might get that. I mean, he's 2 years older than Nicklaus was in '86.
Yeah, and Joe and I mentioned this earlier. Get your thoughts on this. While I am very casual with golf, I understand that all the greats have that one late career, where did it come from win, right? Phil Mickelson was 50, I think, when he won?
In 21, yeah.
Yeah. So these are things that happen. And I was kind of banking on that with Tiger Woods when we were talking about chasing the majors record and everything else. But that was before the accident, man. And I just don't know if I don't know if his body will wreck him. I don't know.
I
just don't know.
I think you're right, but I think he already had it. I think because of the injuries, because of the accident, because of the personal stuff, he aged more quickly.
Yep.
And we had it at Augusta in 19. That was his resurrection, renaissance, recovery. That was the one no one thought he could win, and he won. So but maybe he's got who knows? Maybe he's got my column hanging on the refrigerator at the house he's staying, the way Nicklaus had the Atlanta Journal-Constitution column hanging on the refrigerator in Augusta in '86. He said he couldn't win. But I think it's a non-zero chance. There's a non-zero chance that he's late. He's playing late on Sunday. There's a non-zero chance.
Before we say goodbye, because he also wrote about this in the News and Observer related to the young golfers from North Carolina that will be participating at this U.S. Open. And North Carolina has always been positioned as a hockey hotbed. There's a reason why after 99 and 05, they were very, very quick to announce.
You said hockey hotbed.
I said hockey, golf hotbed. My bad.
Sorry,
I was at kid hockey last night. So
you're actually jumping ahead to a great point. We'll get there.
Oh, anyway, I've lost my train of thought.
You are. No, you're good. You're going to get there.
The point is, as North Carolina continues to be positioned this way, and they always rave about their trips here, what can we expect coming out of the U.S. Open for future PGA, U.S. Opens? They did the double back in 14. What does the future hold for North Carolina as more people move here, there's more known golfers here, and they hold great events?
Yeah, two different questions, really, because the growth of pro golfers, especially from the triangle in particular, I think is a function of much of anything as a population growth. It's the same thing that's happened in hockey. Like, we are going to produce eventually an all-star NHL player because so many more kids are playing. I don't know that more kids are playing golf necessarily, but there's more of a path to the pros than there was 20 years ago. You had Webb carve that out. And then you had people like Brendan Todd and Chesson Hadley follow that. And then you had this generation of Grayson Murray and Carter Jenkins and the other young guys. Now Akshay Bhatia, Peter Fountain has a chance. Michael Lasasso has a chance. There are guys coming up. So now you kind of see that, I can make it on the tour from here. Whereas before there was Scott Hoke and Vance Hefner a little bit, and then like Carl Peterson, who hung out at the bowling alley in Hillsborough. Those were your local pros, who's from Greensboro, but went to state and lived here. And there just wasn't that. Most of the local pros, so to speak, were guys who'd gone to state or UNC, like Tim Clark or Davis Love or whoever. Now it's kids who grew up here. Some of them are private course kids from Carolina or Northridge, and some of them are public course kids from Wildwood and Heritage. Like, it's ecumenical. And so I think what you're seeing is more kids playing golf, more opportunity, and they see the path is there. That if Webb did it, if Chesson did it, if Brendan Todd did it, if Ben Coles did it, I can do it. Flip side, USGA, Pinehurst, women are coming back in 29, back to back. There's going to be a U.S. Open at Pinehurst every 5 years until you and I are dead, because the USGA has put down its flag there. When you pull in, and I've been there the last 2 days, when you pull in the driveway from the little traffic circle, not the big traffic circle, the little traffic circle up the driveway number 2, That whole right side that used to be parking lots back toward the brewery / now again train station is all USGA, World Golf Hall of Fame. That is a big, big deal. This anchor site stuff is a huge deal. And I wrote about this right before COVID. The USGA had its annual meeting at Pinehurst in 2020, right before they announced this anchor site concept.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that they talked about at that meeting were, we surveyed men's and women's pros. And one of the things they told us was, where we win our Open matters to us. I want to win it at Pinehurst. I want to win it at Oakmont, Shinnecock, Bethpage, Marion, Pebble. I don't want to win it at Chambers Bay or Erin Hills or any of these nickel dime, dog tracks that they played the Open on. It was great that they were taking it to public courses, and that's good for the game. But there's a big difference between a course you can play like Pinehurst or Bethpage and a course you can play like Chambers Bay, which is, look, it's a nice course. I don't mean to disparage it, but that was one of the worst Opens because of the course and Fox's coverage, and it was a disaster. So Pinehurst fits the USGA. They put their flag down there. They have Golf House there. It's got a great infrastructure set up because you can put stuff anywhere on the Pine Needles. They got a ton of land. They got the other courses. It's a great site for the US Open. They've had good Opens there despite the sort of milquetoast winners. And what you're going to see is a lot of, and you've seen this, US Amateur 4-ball, Adaptive Open, Women's Open, Girls Junior, Boys Junior, Senior Am was at Old Chatham, the first USGA tournament in the Triangle in forever. There's a final qualifying site in the Triangle now, either at Old Chatham or Duke. This is the kind of thing that the USGA is bringing to North Carolina, and that is going to help propel the first thing we talked about, which is you see these opportunities, and they happen. The other part of that is, don't forget, we've had the SAS Championship and the UNC Health Championship. They've both been here for 20-something years.
Mm-hmm.
These kids have grown up with pro golf in their backyard. They're used to seeing it. That makes a difference too. Now, what do we need and what do we desperately need and what would be great here? And they've talked about it, never made it work, as an LPGA event, especially after the Women's Open in 29. So let's get one in August of 29 somewhere here and make it happen.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, there's plenty of places to make it happen. So, yeah.
The problem in 14 was they couldn't get a title sponsor. So maybe the growth of the Triangle has changed to the point where we can start now and try to get that going again.
Yeah, I mean, there's some big businesses that are going to be coming through. So who knows? Maybe that'll be the case. Luke DeCock, columnist, News and Observer. All right, man, we appreciate the time. We will talk to you later.
See you, bud.
Before we move on, and we talked a lot of hockey there with Luke DeCock, so you know what that means. We're taking a hockey break.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hale.
Check out Happy and Hale. Check out the website. Get the app. You can order online. You put your birthday in. You can get some goodies. It's all at Happy and Hale. I've seen some of their Instagram reels, and the food is just pretty, if that makes sense. Like it's visually
aesthetically appealing.
Yes, it's visually appealing, and it's also delicious. So check out Happy and Hale. We thank them for sponsoring Ovias and Giglio. So one thing I wanted to follow up on, and that was the Washington Capitals buying Cap Friendly, which is a website that a lot of people in our audience and us, if you're hardcore into hockey and you're trying to get a better understanding of what the roster is going to look like, what the salary cap situation is, what the contract terms are, Cap Friendly has been indispensable. So the Washington Capitals bought them recently, and they're going to be shutting down the website at some point this summer. And I was kind of at a loss when I saw the headline. I'm like, why are they doing this? And then you start to peel back the onion. You start to understand a little bit better what's going on. And what you come to find out is all these other teams have much more robust analytics. The Carolina Hurricanes are one of them. So that doesn't affect the Carolina Hurricanes because they've already built out their own Cap Friendly, if you will. So I was reading the Defector yesterday, and this is how they put it in terms that made it make sense to me. The explain like I'm fine. It's more than just contract information, though it is best designed and organized site for that. It's the trade machine, a draft and roster simulator, and scouting reports, and buyout and offer sheet calculators, CBA information, historical data. Any fan wondering if their team can afford that big free agent signing goes to Cap Friendly first. So does anyone wondering if there's a feasible way to shed a roster albatross. Shout out to Alexander Semin. Whether you're a casual fan or true pervert, Cap Friendly has it. True sicko, which is why the Capitals wanted it. It's not so much the data, much of which is publicly available, though not conveniently packaged. It's the underlying infrastructure of the thing, the tools and the calculators and the APIs. It's also the people. Cap Friendly Cohen or Dominic Zrim, who previously worked for the NHL, is a salary cap and CBA specialist. The Capitals lag behind much of the league in analytics and business side operations, and buying Cap Friendly is like buying a turnkey front office. So Ted Leonsis' crappy little franchise couldn't build out its own department. It's spending money to deny the rest of us a valuable resource. That is the best encapsulation and made it make sense for me. And I wanted to go ahead and present that because I was confused as to why a team would buy this website. I knew it was a lot more than just a Ken Palm.
Right.
Way more than a Ken Palm. And the NHL, unlike, say, the NFL that has its own capologist and stuff like that, the NHL sometimes is a little too, they're not transparent. They're a little bit more opaque, if you will. And Cap Friendly helped a lot of people understand what's going on. And I guess, yes, the Washington Capitals are a broke franchise and decided, yeah, why not?
Why not?
I guess since Ted didn't get his crazy sports complex that he wanted, I guess he was going to use the money.
Oh, yeah, he was
to
going to
buy
split
this.
them up.
Yeah, something crazy like that. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. I thought y'all might find that interesting. And that is your hockey break. Big thanks to Two Roosters for sponsoring Ovia's and Giglio. You can check out their website, tworoosters.com, to see a list of their rotating flavors. It's all fantastic stuff. Joe always has a new favorite like every other week, which means you will also have a new favorite every other week.
Animal cracker. Frosted animal cracker. It's pink. Like I said, there was like a little 3-year-old girl eating it. And I was like, yeah,
that's my thing.
I want what she's having.
Let's go. Let's go. Big thanks to Roback. Check them out, roback.com. OG20 is the promo code. You'll save 20% on your order. It's Stay Ready All-Star season at the U.S. Open. Make sure that you are rocking the Roback. You stay comfortable. You look fly. You got patterns that nobody else has.
Stay scripted.
That is all about Roback. Are you going to be scripted in Omaha?
Man, I got to think about that.
You might have to wear the North Carolina polo.
I will bring that, but I'll also bring the shirt I wore for the NC State Carolina game.
Okay.
In DC.
I don't remember that one.
It's long sleeve, but it'll have to be worn. I also wore it when State played.
Oh,
Duke.
I see. I see what you're doing there.
Yeah.
Wolfpack ain't for soft people. Neither is the insurance business. So you need somebody to navigate for you. And that's where Matt Davis can come in. And you can call him directly at 919-779-8277, insuregarner.com, theoginsurance.com. You can save money on your home and auto.
Yeah, we're all about saving money. Have that conversation. Give Matt and his crew over on Aversboro Street a call, and they will do just that for you.
Lightning round.
Folks, it is time for the fastest moving segment in all of podcast.
Lightning round. Lightning round item number 1.
We're getting close to the release of EA Sports College Football 25. And the reason why it's back is because EA is paying out money to athletes and schools. And it looks like there is a tier system to who's getting the most amount of money.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting.
From EA Sports. So I'm going to go ahead, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to put the tier list up, and I'm going to explain to you how this tier... Yeah, I know, right? Let me explain to you what this tier system is. Tier 1 programs will receive a minimum guaranteed revenue distribution of $99,875.16, with $59,929.09 going to tier 2 schools. And for tier 3, they'll get just under $40,000. And for tier 4, they're going to get just under $10,000. Programs receive 1 point for every year they finish in the season's final AP Top 25 poll from 2014 to 2023, meaning 13 programs will receive that top tier payout. Those 13 teams, if you're, again, watching on YouTube, are listed as such: Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Georgia, LSU, Michigan, Oregon State.
No, that's Oklahoma.
Oh, I'm sorry, Oklahoma State, Penn State, Utah, and Iowa.
At the risk of restarting a division argument, is this not indisputable proof that Iowa was the beneficiary of being on the right side of the Big Ten?
I guess. I mean, why? Because you're a tier one. Because they keep finishing in the top 25.
Right, but why do they keep finishing in the top 25?
Because
not because of their unbelievable offense and innovation.
Yeah, no, clearly not that.
I mean, because they're not with Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. That's why. It's exactly why.
Is Iowa not the Dave Dorn dream?
That's weird. Yes. That was a clean way of saying it. Yes,
that's the Dave Dorn dream.
Well done.
I'm just call it for what it is.
Well done.
Call it for what it is. But you know what? There's no more divisions.
But look, there's not even another Florida State. Because Florida State kind of fell on their face there for a couple of years.
Yeah, so in the tier two,
that was the thing that I saw.
North Carolina, you've got NC State, you've got Miami, you got Florida State, you got the Cardinals. Look, we're talking about who fell out. Southern Cal's in a tier 2, Texas is a tier 2, Tennessee's a tier 2, Auburn's a tier 2.
Auburn,
so I guess, yeah, man, it's hard. More shouts to Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and Michigan for being consistent.
I was like, hey, you know what we really need to do? We need to really reward Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State. Right? They haven't had enough of an advantage.
No, they haven't. But we also know those are the teams that people are going to be playing for sure.
Yeah.
Lightning round item number 2.
So we're getting close to July 4th, which means we're getting closer to the Nathan's hot dog eating contest over in Coney Island. Joey Chestnut is an American sports legend for the amount of hot dogs he can glizzy gobble. And it turns out that he will not be participating in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. He's apparently been banned for this. The way the story goes, this is from USA Today. Let me see if I can scroll back up here. Joey Chestnut will not compete at the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. The reason why is because he knocked out an agreement with Impossible Foods. This is from USA Today. As first reported by the New York Post, Chestnut will not participate in this year's contest after a dispute with Major League Eating, the organization which sanctions the contest. According to the Post, Chestnut has agreed to a sponsorship deal with Impossible Foods, a brand that sells meat substitutes. That is a no-no for Major League Eating and Nathan's, leaving the partnership belly up. Now, this was a quote from... Let me see if let me pull this up on the Twitter from Joey Chestnut. He went through a little bit of he kind of tweeted through it. He tweets, I was gutted to learn from the media that after 19 years, I'm banned from the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I love competing in that event. I love celebrating America with my fans all over this great country on the 4th, and I have been training to defend my title. To set the record straight, I do not have a contract with Major League Eating or Nathan's, and they are looking to change the rules from past years as it relates to other partners I can work with. This apparently is the basis on which I'm being banned, and it doesn't impact the July 4th event. Sadly, this decision Nathan's and Major League Eating are making, and it will deprive the great fans of the holiday's usual joy and entertainment. To my fans, I love you and appreciate you. Rest assured that you will see me eat again soon. Stay hungry.
I love that hashtag there. That's nice.
Impossible Foods, when reached by the USA Today sports department, they gave him this quote: "We love Joey and support him in any contest he chooses. It's okay to experiment with a new dog. Meat eaters shouldn't have to be exclusive with just one wiener." That is an official statement from Impossible Foods.
Meat eaters should not have to be exclusive.
No.
To just one wiener.
No.
That's all time, man. Hat tip to Impossible Foods and their PR department.
Have you tried Impossible stuff?
I have not.
I have. I've tried Impossible. I got into a spirited debate with my friend Jason over the weekend about this.
Okay.
And he just didn't understand the point of Impossible Foods.
Well, I guess it's my understanding the way that they load it up, it's just as bad for you as regular meat.
Well, what's bad, right? I mean, what's considered bad? I mean, It's got protein to it. It's all based on, and there's two competing things, right? You've got this vegetable-based meat substitute
Yeah,
that
we've all
bleeds, that has like beet juice in it.
I was gonna say we've all had a black bean burger and some other things that are veggie patties, which this is different though.
This is a little bit different. And then you have lab grown meat.
Okay.
That is supposed to be a 1-for-1 with actual cows, actual lab grown meat. But they haven't gotten to a point where they can make it to scale and be cheap.
Okay.
But the problem is beef prices continue to go up because the popularity of beef and also the conditions in which all that is being produced, and that gets you into.
We have a lot to get into today.
I told you we
status of the meat industry.
I told you we have a lot to get into today. But the thing about Impossible over Beyond is that
I forgot there were two different.
There's two different ones. Like Impossible is actually pretty good if you're just trying to crumble beef. Substitute
like a taco or a
you need tacos. You got
salad.
some sort of bolognese or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Like my friend Erica, she makes bolognese, which is fantastic. I'll put it toe to toe with any restaurant in the country, and she'll every so often pull a fast one on you.
Oh,
she's like, "Oh, what'd you think of the bolognese? Oh, it's fantastic as always." She's like, "I used Impossible." I'm like, "Psh." See, I didn't know that because you try turkey, you could tell it's turkey.
You can tell, yeah,
you could tell it's turkey.
Yeah.
But with Impossible, not so much. But anyway, Joey Chestnut, Impossible Foods wants to make sure that he can have all the wieners he wants. It is disappointing.
Especially if you're saying the rules are, that's like saying like to somebody in NASCAR, oh, you have a different gasoline than the official gasoline of NASCAR, and then you can't compete because you're sponsored by Exxon and we use Mobil back when they were competitors.
Yeah, but what you're worried about in that situation, as the plot of Cars 2 laid out, that the alternative fuel that they were using can be heated up by
that's right,
by reworked cameras, and all of that is to subterfuge the use of alternative fuels so that you have a lock on real fuel and you make lots of money, unless Mater, super secret agent, foils the plan.
It's a great call.
Love Cars 2. Such a bizarre movie.
Lightning round item number 3.
Speaking of meat,
still in the lightning round.
Wow. Yeah, we're still on.
Why don't we make a whole show out of the lightning round?
I mean, these kind of are whole lightning rounds. This actually
I might do that with Hayes next week.
As I was looking up this matter of hot dogs and whatnot, I was thinking to myself, oh God, this is just going to bring up is the hot dog a sandwich? Which is a classic staple.
Get that on the Mount Rushmore.
Oh, that is absolutely on the Mount Rushmore of tired summer topics. But last month, as a matter of law, there was a debate as to whether or not a taco was a sandwich.
Okay.
So on May 13th, there was a case that finally settled out. The case was called Quintana versus Fort Wayne Plan Commission. And it apparently popped up over a zoning dispute involving a commercial developer named Quintana who wanted to open a Mexican restaurant on the property. Years later, in an effort to use his property for commercial purposes, Quintana, a homeowners association, and the local plan commission agreed to writing several zoning restrictions relevant to the case. Quintana was restricted from having restaurants on the property, with one exception: a sandwich bar style restaurant whose primary business is to sell made-to-order or Subway-style sandwiches, which, by the way, of example, includes, but is not limited to, Subway, Jimmy John's, but expressly excludes traditional fast food restaurants such as McDonald's, Arby's, and Wendy's, provided that any such restaurant shall not have an outdoor seating and drive-through service. For avoidance of doubt, the sale of alcoholic beverages is expressly prohibited upon the real estate. So this went all the way to a judge, and the place that the guy wanted to open up was called Famous Taco. And operating Famous Taco on the real estate, subject to the conditions originally set out, this was denied. So he took it to court. And the proposed Famous Taco restaurant, and this is from the court, the Famous Taco restaurant falls within the scope of the general use approved in the original written commitment. The proposed Famous Taco restaurant would serve made-to-order tacos, burritos, and other Mexican-style food, and would not have outdoor seating, drive-through service, or serve alcohol. The court agrees with Quintana that tacos and burritos are Mexican-style sandwiches, and the original written commitment does not restrict potential restaurants to only American-style cuisine sandwiches. So, by a matter of court order, a taco is a sandwich.
By the way, before your parents yell at you, I think it's Quintana.
Probably.
Yeah.
It's not La Quinta? It's La Quinta. You're right.
I don't care. Americanize that thing, but I know your mom.
Sometimes my Spanish is very situational.
Right.
And when I'm reading things, sometimes it's just like that.
Yeah.
Big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority for sponsoring Ovias and Giglio. Check them out. bugsbite.com. With Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority, you can bundle and save, and you can take care of the backyard with these mosquitoes. It is prime time right now. It's hot. It's humid. Mosquitoes are going to be active. You can keep that in check thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Speaking of hanging out in the back, you probably want to go to the butcher's market. It is prime grilling season. We're thinking about Father's Day this Sunday. You're thinking about July 4th. You want to win the neighborhood pool grill competition. You want to have the best burgers on that grill. You want to have the best steaks on that grill. You go to the butcher's market for that show.
Signature steak tips yesterday on the grill. Delicious. They always come through.
You cannot screw that up. Maybe you want to vibe at the pool and you don't know how to do that exactly.
Little 5 millis.
Hey, man, that's where you get that low dosage of the Delta 9 and you just vibe at the pool with Nature's Relief. Check them out online at naturesreliefhempstore.com. That's RELEAF.com. RELEAF hempstore.com. I've talked too much. Let's just get out of here.
The news here. The Hey Joe questions call in.
Big thanks to Crank Arm Brewing for sponsoring Hey Joe.
Glass came in handy yesterday for that Colonel.
It did. And we were there on Monday to take in that Revive and Thrive symposium conversation. Adam Eshbon and I talked about that on the 919 Vice podcast, which we will release later on in the week. Let's go to the YouTube comments. We got Tom was not expecting the Wilson call out with the Beefmaster reference. Yeah, y'all know we're all about that Beefmaster now. Corey, Pop-Tart Bowl would have mattered if they won NC State. You know how NC State should position it? You know, the whole third ever team to, I know you're rolling your eyes, but this is actually how you position it. Don't bring up the bowl game.
Right.
Bring up that they finished in the top 25.
But they didn't. It was the CFP, which comes out before bowl games.
I don't care.
Right.
That's how you position it.
Sure.
But either way, it's kind of cool. From Curtis, Giglio, thank you for the backstory and history on Elliot Avon. Informative and amazing.
Yeah, Elliot's the best, man.
There are times where I say there are certain things we could do on the podcast that we never could have done on radio. That's one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Never would have happened on radio. From Wolfpacker. Yeah, man, that was me and my dad playing with you in Golden Pinehurst.
That's awesome.
Dad part number 1, so it made his day. I only have like 4 or 5 posts on Twitter, but the first one is you taking a pic of the poop emoji ball. Hell yeah, man. And yes, he remembers me on number 9, projected to score. It hit under the over-under that was set. And yeah, I think I ended up 13 on number 9, not 7 or 8. I was 13 to eventually finish over. Let's see what else we got here. Saw Cam Smith at Marsh Landing Country Club a few weeks ago, a few groups ahead of me. He looked like he was in solid form, but those live guys don't really care.
That's the kind of intel I need, man. So I appreciate that.
From Blind Lemongello, yeah, man, scalpers are not going to be tolerated at the Rialto. From John, Ovias, did you finish the Beefmaster story with regard to your dad? It seems like you all got sidetracked. Yes, yeah, we did get a little sidetracked. So I'll complete the story. Quick reset context. I know you got to get out here. My brother and I decided that we were going to pull on my dad what he typically does to us, which is hijack a birthday. You know, typically it's like, I'm going to take you here for your birthday, which is really a place he wants to go to.
Sure.
Fine, whatever. You know how many times I've had a birthday cake? Now, Joe, I'm really easy to figure out. What kind of birthday cake do you think I would like?
I'm trying to remember because I'm strawberry shortcake. You're like vanilla icing, vanilla cake.
No.
Yellow cake, chocolate icing.
No.
I'm out.
Chocolate.
Oh, double chocolate.
Give me all the chocolate.
Okay.
My dad once bought a like Black Forest cake because he wanted the Black Forest cake. Okay. Anyway, so my brother and I decided, you know what? let's do our thing. So we decided to go to Beefmaster, which he's never been to. He likes steak. We didn't tell him. Worst thing we ever could have done to him. And the entire drive out to Wilson, which is about an hour and 10 minutes from my place, he would not shut up. Just, where are you taking me? Are we going to this barbecue place? You know I don't like barbecue. Are we going to the Mudcast game? I don't know what. And we finally he finally figured it out when we got off the exit. He's like, oh, you're taking me to that beef whatever place. Yes, that's where we're going. He finally figured it out. And after we parked, I pull out the card table. I've got fish in a can. I got Spanish wine. I got the boom box. We're playing Cuban wedding hits. Like, I set it up nice, after an hour and 15 minutes of torture, I did the right thing. And he had a great time. So to complete the story, he finally relented and admitted.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
Okay, good.
I'm like, okay, lesson learned.
Good.
And we'll get out of here with a Google voice text message from an 828 number. All right, bluegrass covers are a no-go, but what about Delta Blues covers of Seven Nation Army? Oh, God. Let's see what we got here. This is from Justin Johnson. He's got 1.62 million subscribers. I'm into it. Okay. Tell you what. That's a lot better than the weird techno-ass version that you hear at PNC Arena before a basketball game.
My favorite.
Let's go wrap it up. We'll see you Thursday from Longleaf.